Howdy? Howdy. Wrong. Okay, earlier this academic year, President Young shared in his State of the University address that the first strategic imperative of the university is transformational learning. He said, "We have a moral imperative, I truly believe, to offer students transformational learning experiences that help them contribute to the world throughout their lives." He further explained that essentially transformational learning has three dimensions. First, psychological, changes in understanding of the self. Second, convictional, clarifying and honing one's belief systems. And third, behavioral, changes in lifestyle. The result is a new perspective of one's place in the world and what one can contribute to the world. I'm Deborah Fowler, and I'm the director of the Center for Teaching Excellence. We're here today to honor the Texas A&M faculty that have been recognized and nominated by students because of their support to transformational learning. We also have some very special guests in the audience who are external to the university, and that is Limon and Melba Anderson, William and Barbara Huffman, Dale Konachek, and Carol Lohman. And we also welcome our Dean of Faculty, Dr. John August. As a center, we create and offer resources to our faculty that enable transformational learning, encouraging engagement of students inside and outside of the classroom, emphasizing active learning methodologies, collaborating with faculties and departments on redesigning and updating their programs and degrees, providing assessment tools for student learning and faculty effectiveness, and sharing feedback on teaching methods that encourage transformation, all of which are supported by teaching and learning literature. With the university's strategic imperative of transformational learning at the forefront of this year, we began to wonder, how is transformational learning taking place in our university? Who are the faculty who are impacting the lives of our students in a positive way according to the three dimensions that the president offered? How are the faculty accomplishing transformation in their classrooms and outside the classroom? How can we recognize these faculty for their successes? And how could we share these successes with and their methodologies with the faculty, the students, the administration, and stakeholders to our university? From these seeds of wonderment, we envisioned a day where we could identify our professors, learn what they do, and share their successes. And today, our vision has become a reality. Aggies celebrate teaching. Woo! Come on. We need a week. The process began by seeing how we could identify professors. We agreed that who is best but our students to inform us of the transformational learning occurring at Texas A&M. Earlier this semester, we issued a call for nominations. To our students and asked our students to nominate current faculty who have impacted their learning in a transformational way. Part of the nomination process included a 1,000 to 1,500 word essay providing evidence that the faculty member nominated, 1, challenged them to think in new ways, 2, inspired them to learn more deeply, 3, supported them in their learning through transformation of their educational experience, and 4, impacted them positively. The Center for Teaching Excellence evaluated the 60-plus nominations, which we received during using a uniform selection criteria for the required 4 areas of evidence. Indeed, it was a challenge to select 6 from those 60-plus, less than 10% of the nominations. However, all faculty are probably deserving, but our final choices came down to the ability of the students to tell their stories and to provide evidence of the transformational learning and teaching. By virtue of the essay, these 6 students demonstrated their ability to express succinctly and clearly the reasons why they were nominating the chosen faculty. Each will receive a $500 educational grant, and today we honor the 6 chosen faculty, and each of whom will receive a $1,500 professional development grant. Each student will share how their professor has changed their lives through transformational learning. So first, we invite Mauricio Cohen, a graduate student in aerospace engineering, and his nominee, Dr. Gregory Shamatov, to share his story. You just get to
Hello, my name is Mauricio Cohen, and I nominated Dr. Chamitov for the Center for Teaching Excellence's Aggies Celebrate Teaching Award. I first met Dr. Chamitov when I was a student in his Flight Dynamics undergraduate course. On the first day of class, Dr. Chamitov walked in with a grin on his face, a briefcase on the brink of explosion, and a 4-foot-long foam airplane with flame stickers on the side. He proceeded to explain fundamental flight dynamics by prompting the class to theorize what would happen if he launched the airplane in several different ways towards us. He taught a complex, rigorous, and mathematically intensive course by using simple, visual examples, and this teaching style challenged the class to think in new ways and apply our knowledge to problems beyond those given. The lectures included carefully combined methods for various learning types, but most importantly, he used props, video animations, and real-world examples from his time as a former NASA astronaut to add to the curriculum of the class. The following semester, I eagerly enrolled in his next available class, Human Spaceflight Operations. It's a course in which several NASA experts share their stories, the lessons they have learned, and the theoretical underpinnings of human spaceflight with the students. Over the course of the semester, our class gained first-hand knowledge unobtainable in any other way. For me, this defined a transformational learning experience, a class that integrates theory, practice, and most important, ethical saliency, all into one incredible semester. The class highlighted the importance of the people behind NASA and the ethical decisions behind human spaceflight. Dr. Chamitov's instructional and mentoring skills are enhanced by his unique role as a facilitator and an opportunity provider. Day to day, he instructs and inspires and provides valuable feedback to the teams that he leads with patience and understanding. Perhaps the most salient characteristic of his mentorship is his ability to lead students towards previously unrecognized opportunities, opening rare but profoundly impactful doors in the students' lives and then inviting the students to step into those doors. For these reasons, I have chosen Dr. Chamitov as my PhD thesis advisor, and in all honesty, his superior mentorship was the main reason I chose to pursue a PhD. When I meet with him now, he isn't carrying the flame sticker Latin foam airplane anymore, but he still has that sincere grin and overloaded briefcase, reminding me that he has started me and many other students on a transformational lifetime journey.
Well, this is quite an honor. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, and thank you, Mauricio. I think my opportunity to work with Mauricio, I think, is just as fantastic as the other way around. He's a fantastic, amazing student. He's done a lot of amazing things so far, and he's got a fantastic future ahead of him. So it's a real honor for me, and thank you for doing this. It was a big surprise to me to hear that he did this. I don't have anything written, but as I was thinking about today, it occurred to me that I didn't really have a personal sense that I had tried to do anything transformational. I mean, I was just doing what I thought was the right thing to do. But I think there's a couple of things in my background that maybe explain some of that. I want to tell you just a couple of kind of stories. So it's also an opportunity for me to remember my father. My father inspired me very much in a lot of things that I've done. It turned out teaching was one of them, and also that was in an unexpected way. So he was a mathematician. He was the first one in my family to actually have a college degree. And he worked in quality control. So he worked for different companies. Northern Telecommunication was one for a very long time. He worked for, he ended up at Atari, the Atari game company. He ended up being vice president of quality control for Atari. That's where the job he finally retired from. And, as a quality control guy, my brother and I had the benefit of a lifelong quality control test of Atari games. So we had the coffee table version of the Asteroids game. I don't know if you remember the Asteroids game, but so we were really good at the Asteroids game. In fact, I can still go. There was a recent event where they had throwback arcade games, and in a half an hour I had the top 10, no problem. I can still play it like that. But But he was a teacher. He liked teaching. He loved teaching math and also quality control. And I never saw him teach until a certain point. So he started a company which was basically a seminar company, the kind of company that the kind of seminars that companies send their employees to go learn something for a week, in a hotel or a conference, come back with a big stack of material that they mastered in 5 days. And so it was a seminar business, and he was teaching quality control. And I think it had to do, I think it was combining it with a family vacation or something is the reason I ended up going on, with him on one of these. And also I think I was a sophomore in college at the time, so I was finally at the level where I could understand, what he was teaching. And the reason I'm telling you the story is because I was sitting in my father's class, and I knew that was going to be awkward, like my dad's teaching the class, these other people are going to take it, and I'm the son in the class. I thought that was going to be a strange thing. And it was. But in a very short time, I was sitting there thinking, oh my God, my father is like the best teacher I've ever had. I mean, like by a long shot, like the best teacher I ever had. And I just couldn't believe it. I was blown away. And I remember sitting and thinking, what is it about what he's doing? Why is it that I feel this way? And it wasn't just that he was my father at all. These are long things, right? 8 hours a day, 5 days in a row. They're very hard to stay awake in. And a couple of things, that were very clear. As I think about it, it wasn't a lecture, but it was a performance, right? It was a performance. And it was funny, it was entertaining, there were jokes thrown in, it was a he had people trying to answer questions. He went around the class and had them work with each other and helped them and got to know everybody very quickly by working with everybody in the class. And it was just, anyway, it was really, it really amazed me that I had never seen anything like this, in school up until that point. So I want to relate that really quickly to another background thing for me, is that I spent almost 20 years at NASA. Mauricio mentioned I was an astronaut before I came to Texas A&M. And in that role, a surprisingly big part of what we do is go talk to the public, try to inspire kids to go into STEM subjects and teach them, help them believe in themselves and follow their dreams and that sort of thing. And each one of those events, where we're talking to school kids, it's not a lecture, obviously. It's a show. It should be inspiring, right? The kids we show them great pictures, tell them stories about the missions, and we're trying to inspire them. And so when I came here to teach, my benchmark for when I walked out of a class, how I felt about the class, was the same as leaving an event where I was trying to get school kids excited about space and STEM subjects. And so if I walked out of a class and there were some people falling asleep or they were distracted by something else, I thought, well, I'm doing something wrong. I just felt that something's wrong. So anyway, bringing these things together, I just kind of realized that it's a matter of trying to engage the students. And if there's a class of 80 students, the only way I find that I could get to know them is to have them work on a problem in class and then walk around and talk to everybody and get to know everybody and help them work on a problem together, get them working together. If it's the type of class, like Mauricio's helping me teach a senior design class right now, where we have the students presenting to each other, teaching each other some of the things that they have to work on together. So everything possible to get the students engaged, excited, and participating, in the class. And every class is a little different. I know there's these ideas of flipping the classroom, and I don't think we're intentionally doing that, but certainly partly doing that to get the students very involved in the class. So and unless it kind of works that way and there's that level of engagement, I somehow don't feel like it's working. And so that's naturally what I tend to do. And so if there's a key to this, I feel like it's engagement and getting the class participating, in whatever class it is and whatever subject it is, getting them participating as much as they possibly can. So anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Second is Bo Hawthorne, a senior in construction science, and he'll tell us about the faculty member Gary Bolt that has impacted his learning experience.
Hi, I'm Bo Hawthorne. Like she said, I'm a senior construction science student here at Texas A&M. And today I have the privilege of honoring Professor Gary Bolt. I first met Mr. Bolt in an estimating 2 course last summer. And now keep in mind, last summer, 2016, was only Professor Bolt's 3rd semester at Texas A&M, and also only his 3rd semester to teach in higher learning. Previously, he owned his family-owned construction company in San Antonio, and he taught that way. I can remember vividly the first moments of the class. My upbeat and happy mood quickly vanished as he stood in front of our lab room with his arms crossed, and on the screen behind him, he had the national deficit updating at 100 miles per hour, going increasing really fast. Upon seeing this impossible number, things definitely took a turn from the more serious side, and Professor Bolt explained to us how his generation had screwed up the nation, and how my generation was going to have to clean it all up. It was then and only then that I realized this was not going to be the typical A&M course, and my realization was correct. This course proved to be one of the more challenging courses I've taken here at Texas A&M. And all throughout the course, my classmates and I received unprecedented support from Mr. Bolt. He mentioned to us early on in the class that he did not sleep. And just a few days into the course, we found that to be an absolute fact. There were countless times my classmates and I would have a question in the estimating lab very late at night, and all we had to do was climb up 3 or 4 flights of stairs to his office and look in there, and he'd be in there. There were a few times that his wife actually came into Francis Hall, and I guess she figured she could see him more there than she could at home. Sometimes I even had my suspicions that he, well, in fact, may live in Francis Hall. Not only was Professor Bolt always present for us with his support, he always stressed to us the importance of learning things done in the construction industry. Estimating is a highly stressful part of the construction process, and it involves careful quantification of hundreds of pages of plans and specifications. And with all this information, you're still just guessing. And this guess can be the difference between a huge profit and a major loss for a company. She would have us work in groups to simulate group thinking, but also to simulate the estimating process for each person in an estimating team. He would have us take information we had learned in previous classes, like calculations and thought processes, and to develop formulas and Excel spreadsheets to help us get better estimates. He would make us find errors in plans, just like from real-world drawings that on projects he had actually worked on. This made us realize that even architects can make mistakes, and nobody's perfect. So, on the final assignment, he made us actually turn in an actual bid in a highly stressful environment. This bid was approximately 70 pages long. Professor Bolt also threw in curveballs, like changing bid amounts to make it more realistic, having other professors, like the department head, deliver data and announcements on bid day, and even having the office lose power in our lab, and making us figure out the numbers in pencil and paper. The last straw that broke the camel's back was changing the location of where the bids were to be delivered. He changed it to the farthest, tallest building or office in the entire building, and there were 40 plus construction science students running around trying to turn their bids in on time. Finally, I'd like to thank Mr. Bolt on behalf of me and my classmates for your dedication, caring, and sincere teaching, and the mentor you were to me and to all my classmates, and the mentor you're going to still become for the rest of the time.
Howdy, Aggs.
Howdy.
I want to take this opportunity to thank Bo for honoring me with this nomination. I'd also like to take this time to thank my wife, Andrea, for the many nights that I've been at the work, and also our department head, Joe Borland, for his support and belief in me. It's through relationships that I feel that we can best reach others, and especially students in the teaching environment. I emphasize to the students that it is not what they do, but how they do it that really matters. Wanting them to take on responsibility for their coursework, attendance, and being on time. I allow them to experience accountability, failure, with grace. I try to give them a real taste of the work environment that they will soon be engaged in. In the course of study, the students are challenged with being given basics to proceed in solving some very complex problems. This shows them that trying to accomplish this alone is a very difficult task. But in working together with other students and relying on others' strengths and gifts, that most of the problems can be solved. The students were tasked to get to know each other and establish lifelong relationships. These will be the same relationships that they will need in the future, in their future employment. Making myself available to my students is one of the best parts of the job. Recommendations, resumes, companies to work for, companies not to work for, help on assignments, help on tests, or just talking to them about life. I like to tell my students that Joe is my boss, but they're the ones that pay my salary. I desire to let them know that I am nothing without them, and then in a few short years, they will be my peer. I teach them what the construction industry is going to demand from them, and that it's going to be hard work with long hours. They never flinched. I utilized the coal to diamond analogy in my teaching. The more pressure that I apply to my students, the higher quality of work they deliver. Now, I would like to tell you about my students. They're some of the smartest, most gifted, hardworking, intelligent, and caring people I have ever had the pleasure to know. They see their futures and are willing to strive to attain the best it has to give. They're not afraid. They are not afraid. They are not afraid to venture outside the box in solving complex issues and problems. They care for each other, and they are a delight and pleasure to teach. I was going to tell you a story about a man that called me late on a Saturday night when the students were working and trying to solve a complex problem I gave them about coming up with 10 jobs to bid. They knew nothing about how to do that. I gave them a little bit of information. This guy, they got a hold of him somehow or another, and the word spread, and they were all calling him late on a Saturday. Well, he calls me about 10 o'clock Saturday night. He says, Professor Bold, Dr. Bold, something like that. And I said, yes, sir. He goes, I'm from such and such plan room. I have received uncounted numbers of emails and calls from your students. Can you tell me what is going on? And I said, I have no idea other than the fact that they're getting outside the box. He goes, well, what do you want me to do? I said, I really don't care what you do. I said, you can give them access or not. It's totally up to them to find the numbers. So they continually bless me. Bo, you blessed me today. Thank you, son. It's an honor.
Next selection is Dr. Cable Kurwitz from Nuclear Engineering, nominated by freshman Jared Lilly, who will share about his experience.
Howdy. My name is Jared Lilly, and I nominated Dr. Kurwitz for the Aggies Celebrate Teaching Award. So how has Dr. Kurwitz enhanced my education and my life? For one, he taught me how to take initiative. I remember leaving his first class and feeling overwhelmed with things to do before our next meeting. I made it through the week, and as the semester went on, I realized that was just his teaching style. He put the learning in the hands of the students, and I took action. I prepared myself before every class so that I could find success, whether it be quizzes or in-class activities and all that stuff. Also, he encouraged us to branch out and take advantage of opportunities here at A&M, whether it be research or join organizations. Because of that, I ended up joining 2 organizations my freshman year and have been greatly impacted by both of them. Secondly, he has laid down a good foundation of how to think critically to solve problems. Whenever he's teaching a new topic, he follows a methodical approach about how to solve a problem. In short, analyze and understand what we have and what we have to do, brainstorm and write down our ideas, and then produce a final product and see if it works. If not, repeat the process. And this has helped me find success in not only my engineering class, but also my math and physics and my chemistries, and I know it's going to be one of my most valuable assets as I continue into as an engineer at A&M. And finally, Dr. Kurwitz has changed my perspective of how I spend my time in college. Yes, so on the first day, I remember he was telling us how hard it was going to be transferring from high school to college. The workload was much more immense and much more demanding. And all the while, though, he kept inputting that we needed to make sure to spend time to make great memories and just enjoy our times here. And because of that, I've really been impacted, and I've tried to make great memories. I've made some great friends, and I've also just enjoyed, just going out and having a good chicken fried steak with some really close friends. It's been a great impact. My first semester, I was really focused on my studies, and I didn't get out much. But coming in the second semester, I've really opened up more. I did my work, still got it done, tried my best, but I've really focused on really investing in relationships, and it's really greatly impacted me. And because of these reasons, I nominated Dr. Kurwitz for this Excellent Teaching Award. Thank you.
Howdy. I'm actually very fortunate. I typically get to teach both freshman engineers as well as senior engineers. So I get them kind of coming and going, so to speak. And I think at each stage there's kind of very important things we need to pass along. When I have the seniors, it's very easy. I'm pretty much polishing them up and reminding them that they're ready to take the world by storm. For the freshmen, it's a little bit different. They come in typically thinking they're going to really light the world on fire, and realizing there's quite a few others here that have the same plans. And I think one of the key things that I need to do is to essentially let them find their spot here at A&M. Even though it's a very big university, there's a spot for everything. And I've been very blessed to be around an amazing faculty that has helped me develop, as well as supported by a wonderful staff in multiple departments and areas that essentially allow me to do what I view as kind of a very enjoyable task, which is to essentially visit with students every day. Jared is just another example of the high quality of students we have here at A&M. And they can all be very, very successful. They just need to find their spot here as an Aggie.
Okay, now we invite Vanessa Limon, a senior in environmental soil sciences, to share with us her reasons for nominating Dr. Jake Mathews.
Hello.
Okay, just making sure it works. All right, my name is Vanessa Limon. As was mentioned, I'm a plant environmental soil science major. I'm graduating on May 12th, finally. Our situation here is a little bit unique because Dr. Maurer is not actually teaching a course, during this semester. He didn't actually teach a course. However, I did perform my undergraduate research credit and submitted that report to the Student Research Week and won a Texas Sea Grant Award. That was incredibly influenced by his support and mentorship with me. I'm also working with him, so I am, I guess, a student research assistant, and I've been working for him about a year. He really allowed me to develop problem-solving skills, put me in situations where I was completely interested in completing a very important portion of whatever research we were conducting at that time. And these were really tasks that prior to acquiring this position, I felt you really had to have a strong foundation prior to. However, I did not really have an agricultural background until I started working with him. And once I started doing that, he opened up a whole new realm of opportunity and really gave me the motivation and helped me develop my perseverance to complete my education and actually move forward with applying to graduate school, and put me in touch with a lot of amazing contacts. Overall, the biggest thing I could say about a transformational educator, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take a course with them, but it's someone who takes pride in what they do and who really is compassionate about the students, and seeing them succeed helps make them better professors. And I feel Dr. Maurer really encompasses all of that really well, wholeheartedly. He's an incredible mentor and educator, and I'm really appreciative for this opportunity. So.
I think it's important because of the nature of this occasion that we maybe go on record and say something about transformational learning. So Vanessa Limon is a very impressive person. She's going to make a big difference in the world, and for that reason, if for no other, I couldn't be more humbled to be nominated for this honor. So thank you so much, and thank you for the things you just said about me. I read, your essay. And without going into details, I would like to answer one question you posed in there. I took you on in the program because you looked me in the eye and you answered all my questions. And you were self-possessed, and I knew it was going to work out. That's it. So we worked together. We had some strange times, a lot of physical labor side by side for hours and hours. And I've always been really impressed with you, so thank you for the nomination again. To go on record about transformational learning, I wasn't really aware of the term until about 3 weeks ago when I got an email from Nate Poling. And I thought to myself, so I'd worked with high school students as a mentor, I'd worked with undergraduates, graduate students, postgraduate scholars, and I work a lot as an extension specialist with adults who are already doing what they do. And I always feel something successful if I don't just go out and teach a little bit or share some of my knowledge, but if I am also transformed at the same time by what I learned from them. Being an extensionist, I feel very positively, very passionately that learning is a two-way street. Okay, so if I'm changed as well, if I'm transformed as well, this is a positive outcome. But in thinking back, when we first started working together, I explained to you, I'm going to talk a lot, right? I talk a lot. And maybe it's because I don't like long silences. Maybe it's because I work thoughts out better in my head. And you know this is true. We worked out ideas. We got to our protocols, and that kind of, by me talking out loud. But also, I don't know if that was transformational. Maybe it is transformational. And when I think about what inspires me to talk, and I think about the person that I'm talking to and where they're at, and what our conversation is, what was your experience today? Did you have a good or bad experience in class yesterday, or what we're doing, so forth and so on. And what inspires me, I think, is some of the frustration I've had in my own experiences in the past with teachers who maybe couldn't follow me as far down the rabbit hole as I wanted to go. They couldn't give me a satisfactory answer. The sky is blue. Why is the sky blue? Blah, blah. And at a certain point, it would end before I was really done with all my questions. So I wanted to be the type of mentor or instruction figure that could go as far down the rabbit hole as somebody needed to go. On the other hand, I'm also inspired by other, teaching is sort of a calling, or mentoring is a calling, and I'm inspired by my wife who is teaching at A&M as well. And we had so many great conversations about what that means and what that does to your heart to share knowledge with people. So there it is. I'm on record as being humbled by Miss Limon and inspired by my wife and talking too much. That's my style.
Well, now we have Lauren Mathews, a senior in Telecommunication Media Studies, and she'll share her transformational learning experience about Dr. Heidi Campbell.
Howdy, my name is Lauren Mathews. It has been an honor and a privilege to work with Dr. Heidi Campbell. I have spent the past 6 semesters working with Dr. Campbell, and she truly has impacted my college learning experience. Not only did I take 2 classes from her, but I was also her research assistant, and Dr. Campbell was my supervisor for the Undergraduate Research Scholars Program. Dr. Campbell has transformed my educational experience by allowing me to learn outside of the classroom. After taking her Communication 350 class and learning about the networked individualism theory, Dr. Campbell gave me the idea to continue studying the theory outside of class and do my own research on it. From there, Dr. Campbell and I spent the past 3 semesters studying social good apps and how it ties to the networked individualism theory. She has supported me throughout my entire research process and meets with me on a weekly basis to check in on my progress. When we meet, She asks me questions and challenges my beliefs and she has helped me develop a stronger argument. I really appreciated all of the feedback she would give me and the questions she would ask so that I could have a more well thought out argument for my project. In addition, she encouraged me to apply for the Undergraduate Research Scholars Program my senior year so that I would learn how to write a thesis and have it published through the university. Dr. Campbell also advised me to share my research with other people. I was able to present my project at the Diversity Conference and Student Research Week. I've become such a better student by being able to think in a new way about topics and to take something that interests me and turn it into a research project. Without Dr. Campbell, I would not be the student I am today and have the courage to do my own research project. Dr. Campbell has impacted my life by allowing me to develop as a student and being so supportive of me throughout my college career. Dr. Campbell has pushed me to be a better student by giving me so many wonderful opportunities to learn outside of the classroom. She's helped change my perspective on research and how to look at the real world. I now understand how impactful research can be and that it all starts from questioning things that you learn. It was incredible to be able to learn how to complete an entire research project and to write a paper that could be published in a journal. Dr. Campbell has had such an impact on my college learning experience, and she's extremely deserving of this award.
Howdy.
Howdy.
First of all, I want to thank the Center for Teaching Excellence for this program and this award, as well as my student Lauren and the opportunity I've had to work with her and many other wonderful students in the communication department. For the first 4 years I was here at A&M, I was a frequent visitor to the many teaching conferences, workshops, study groups, anything to do with teaching. And I really valued, and I think I'm standing here today because of a lot of those resources and opportunities that I had to learn from other students and other faculty about how to present in the classroom, as well as how to kind of develop learning experiences. This was very important to me because I did my graduate work in the UK, and the British system is very different. You have a few kind of big lecture classes, but mostly what you do is you sit in dark studies and dark offices with 2 or 3 other students, and you argue about ideas week after week, working out your research project, reading philosophy books together. And so my graduate experience was, really mentorship and one-on-one. Getting a job at a state university, I was kind of realizing that this was going to be a challenge, especially the first day I stood in front of 100 students. And as an introvert, I found that a very challenging environment. But what I quickly learned is that in the classroom there were students like Lauren, that people really wanted to learn. You could see that sparkle in their eye. They were engaged about the topics. They asked good questions. They actually responded when you asked a question to the class. And so I learned how to kind of not just teach to students like that, but also use them as sounding boards to learn how I could bring interactive material into the class, the best videos, the best kind of popular culture examples to get the students engaged. I also, through our department, have had a chance to not just teach in the classroom, but also kind of find those students that really have that inquisitive angle, that inquisitive look in their eye, and seek them out for opportunities to do research together. Over the last 10 years, I've co-authored with over a dozen students that are undergraduates, and had a lot of kind of 3 or 4 person experiences where we sit in my office, we talk about research projects they're interested in or something I am, and we become a research team. My research has grown and has become much better from the questions my students ask of me. And even the kind of, when I've been trying to develop theoretical ideas, they become the sounding boards to kind of help me not just explain what I'm thinking, but also better iron out some of my real-world implications of my work. So I'm grateful to students like Lauren that have kind of challenged me as a teacher, that keep me inspired in the classroom, and have helped me become the teacher that I am.
I hope that you had an opportunity to see that there's, all variety of faculty that are instructing at the university and in different ways, from research to teaching in the classroom. And we're almost there. We have one more final selection, which is Dr. Scott Cummings. He's nominated by Jody Nairn, graduate student in agricultural leadership education and communication.
Howdy.
Hi.
Like she said, my name is Jody Nairn, and I'm a doctoral student in agricultural leadership, education, and communications. And I want to talk to you a little bit today about Dr. Scott Cummings and his course program evaluation and organizational accountability. I nominated Dr. Cummings for this award because of his incredible ability to prove me wrong. Are you happy now? So when I signed up for
the degree plan and get it over with. I'm an educator with over 10 years of program development experience. So I write really good pre and post tests, and I can use words like evidence-based and data-driven in the appropriate context. How bad could this class be? That was the first place I was wrong. So when we started the course, Dr. Cummings asked us to think about the end result, what we hoped to gain from our evaluation projects, and that would be our starting place. And like any good program developer, I thought, well, I want to please the funder. I want to get money. That's what program evaluation's for, right? Well, I was definitely wrong about that too. As it turns out, that's just a drop in the bucket, and there's a lot of other things that evaluation can do, like improving every aspect of the program from start to finish. And Dr. Cummings walked us through all of those components step by step and gave us a really quick review of all the possibilities. And then I was like, okay, I got this. I could totally go into the real world and use it easily. I was wrong again. So Dr. Cummings' course at the core was a transformational learning experience in a very literal sense. Our classroom transformed into a conference room. My classmates and I transformed into an evaluation consulting team. And our curriculum transformed into a real-life evaluation project for a real-life client. That was pretty intimidating. But working together, we met with our client to set goals, decided what we needed in order to reach those goals. We hashed through the difficulties of developing an instrument to get the data we needed, so we fought about things like word choice and question order and differences of opinion of all shapes and sizes. But eventually we got there. We got data. We cleaned the data. We analyzed the data. We developed a report. We delivered it to our client. And where was Dr. Cummings during all of this? Well, rather than being the chairman of the board and taking over every class period, he sat back and operated like a member of the team. He was there when we had problems. When we got frustrated, he kind of smirked and reminded us that these are real-life problems in real-life evaluations, and that's what we were doing. So it was really a trial by fire to get us ready for the real world. He did a great job of holding his tongue during those times when he probably could have jumped in and rescued us from our own difficulties and letting us figure it out and reach consensus or compromise on our own as a team. So eventually this class was over, and I thought, oh, thank goodness, I don't have to deal with evaluation for a while. And I was wrong again. Right after this class ended, I was offered the opportunity to lead an evaluation project within my organization. And with the blessings from my supervisor, Dr. Cummings actually has been overseeing that project, and I've been able to get course credit for applying those skills in my real everyday work. The things that I've learned in this project have gone above and beyond, but those foundational skills from that course set the stage for me to be able to do that. So, Dr. Cummings, thank you for proving me wrong, that this class was going to be easy and that I could just get it over with.
I counted 5 times she said she was wrong, so I don't hear that at home, but and I'll start by saying it is an honor, and I appreciate the Center for Teaching Excellence. And I too was shocked when I first got a phone call from Nate, and I was out of town, and then he sent me an email. And I'm not comfortable in these kind of situations, so it's very much an honor. And I do want to thank my wife Debbie, who's here, and my department head Jack Elliott, who's here, and some very close friends of ours who aren't here for me, but they're here, Scott and Debbie Schaefer. So, and most of all, this young lady right here who walked in my office a couple of years ago, sat down in the chair, went to visit with me about grad school, and I didn't get a word in edgewise. And she sat there and told me exactly what she wanted to do, start to finish, and I thought, well, okay, I think I have to take you now because you're here. So, but honestly, I don't go into the classroom and do anything different than I do in my office every day. And the way I was trained and taught in my grad program, that they're not, for me, they're not students, they're colleagues. And I don't like to be called Dr. Cummings by the students. I don't like to be called that, or really by anybody, because for me it's a partnership. And she's one of many that I think, they guide their own learning, and that's part of it. Textbooks are great, a lot of great information, but it's not the real world, and that's what I'm focused on. I've got a terminal degree, but I'm not I don't have an academic appointment in the department. I'm 100% agri-life extension, very much like Jake. So I teach adults and those that have graduated and graduate students, and I do undergraduate students too, but I think they should be treated the same way. They've got to understand what happens in the real world, and you can't pick up a textbook and solve that problem. You can't figure out why there's only a 20% response rate. And doesn't that sound riveting? Program evaluation and accountability. You can't figure out why people won't respond. You can't figure out why you have bad data, why you have bad, mailing lists. It's all real. It all happens. I'm not a lab scientist. There's no test tube to mix. So for me, it's all about the initiative of the students and letting them figure out what works and what doesn't work. And I learned it just as much from them. I've done this for 30 years, and I learn every day something different. So for me, it's nothing special. I know it's just what we do. So I appreciate it, and thank you.
Well, how about one last round of applause for all the awards? We definitely appreciate the time that everyone has taken to come out to hear a little bit about, these awards and from the students. This is a new award for us. We hope it's an inaugural year. We intend to put this call out every year, and we again felt like the students could be the ones to tell us how they felt the faculty had transformed their lives. And you've seen that there's freshmen, there's seniors, there's graduate students. They're all across the curriculum, and they're all the ones who submitted their own nominations. So again, thank you very much. This actually concludes our program. We still have plenty of hors d'oeuvres back there to enjoy, and yet now you know who all these people are, so please take the time to follow up and ask them questions and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.